go into Sport Plus, stab the throttle, and bless the day at the office. Downshift, and it holds, it grips every bit. Oh, this is such a track weapon. 656 brake horsepower, 10 short of the Devil's Trio, 800 Newton meters of torque, and a 0 to 100 sprint in a scarcely believable 3.5 seconds, all culminating in a top speed of 325 kilometers an hour. Now, those are some properly big numbers, but the real headline is that this astonishing performance comes from Aston Martin's entry-level car, the new Vantage. The so-called junior Aston with its front-engine rear-wheel drive setup that enthusiasts and actually romantics have always loved. Today, we're going to spend the day with it to test Aston's claim that the Vantage has been engineered for the real drivers. Let's see if it delivers. Now let's start with the visuals. Aston Martin's Vantage has always had gorgeous proportions, and this one continues the same trend. But if you come closer, you will see that some details have been refreshed to make it a lot more sweeter. For example, the headlamps. The previous generation had sleeker headlamps that made it look like it was squinting looking at the sun, but this one gets a better redesign. Even the grille in the front is a lot larger to cool that V8, and overall it makes it look a lot more muscular, reminding you of the Zagato. And again, it is a very comprehensive design up front compared to the previous generation, which looked like its mouth had a lower lip missing. Now, over on the side, you see that it gets 20-inch wheels as standard. Now, this one is spec'd with the optional 21 inches, and the tires are a Michelin Pilot Sport S5 tires with AML badging, which stands for Aston Martin Lagonda, because Michelin has specifically engineered the tires for the new Vantage. Coming ahead, you have these gills, again reminding you of the Zagato specials of old, and this drop-dead gorgeous mirror, which a borderless or a bezel-less design. Now, coming further in the back, the rear track has been increased by 30 mm, and you can clearly see it from this angle. Now, coming to the rear, things are a bit familiar. You have that same ducktail style rear end, the similar looking lights, quad exhaust setup, and a diffuser that makes it look like a proper Aston Martin sports car. But having said that, practicality hasn't been foregone. You have the key fob, press the boot button, and it has enough space to put a set of golf clubs, because Aston Martin owners just don't like to go fast, they like to play it slow as well. Inside, the updates feel substantial. While the Vantage remains a snug two-seat cabin, the center console has been modernized, and the infotainment finally feels like it belongs in 2025. The 8-inch unit that was in the previous generation has been replaced with a 12.5-inch unit, which gets wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Thankfully, even for the audiophiles, you get an optional 1170-watt Bowers and Wilkins audio system. In terms of storage, you have door pockets and a shallow center armrest. But let's be honest, this is not a minivan. This is a sports car. Now, the finer details in the cabin, like this carbon fiber finish trim, even the center console is clearly inspired by its elder siblings, the DB12 and the DBX707. It gets the same high quality buttons, these rollers that feel really nice. You have heated and ventilated seats over here, your physical buttons to change the suspension, damper settings, the exhaust settings, the traction control, even your 360-degree camera. All of this is controlled from right here. The main button is over here. You can put the car in manual mode and unleash it with different traction control modes, which I'll get into once I start driving. Now, if you come a bit closer, you see the Aston Martin badge is blacked out over here on the media car. Now, that's an optional extra. But what is standard and is cooler is this, wherein you have the V8 engine, but the placement, the wheels are right here and it sits slightly behind the wheels, making it a front mid-engine sports car. This much area is just taken up by that cooling. Now, it's made by one person in Britain. This one's made by Luke Wensley. Thank you, Luke. And if you come really up close, you can see the two turbochargers right here peeking through the cylinder banks, because it's placed between the V8, between the cylinders, to make a hot V setup, which means the turbochargers spool up quicker, there's less travel for the air, and it minimizes turbo lag. But how does it actually perform? Let's get in to find that out. Now, under the bonnet, there's an AMG DNA coursing through the Vantage's twin turbocharged 4-liter V8. But don't think it's a simple carryover. The engine has been significantly reworked with larger turbos, revised cam profiles, optimized compression ratios, and enhanced cooling. The result is 656 brake horsepower, 800 Newton meters of torque. That's 128 horsepower and 150 Newton meters more than the previous most potent variant, the Vantage F1 edition. Now, the power is sent to the rear wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and there's a suite of revisions to keep that power in check. A chassis that's 7% stiffer and retuned active dampers, along with sticky new Michelin Pilot Sport 5S tires that have been bespokely engineered for the new Vantage. And overall, it makes it feel alive in the driver's hands. The brakes get an optional carbon ceramic treatment in this case, and it can be tailored to have either cast iron or carbon setups with bespoke servos as well. The steering too has been recalibrated, giving you precise neutral handling and a sense of connection that's hard to come by these days. What really stands out though is the engine's character. It's got an enormous torque, 800 Newton meters to be precise, but it also feels eager, rev hungry, especially at the top end. The larger turbos don't make it feel lazy. In fact, it's quicker to respond than the DB12 setup, which I'll admit I drove briefly last year. And then there's the Focus. This is not a Grand Tourer masquerading as a sports car. It doesn't have a comfort mode. The Vantage actually starts off in Sport, escalates to Sport Plus, and then culminates to a track mode, which tells you that this is not a GT. It's a proper sports car through and through. You also get an individual mode that you can set up according to your driving style and your preferences. And on smooth tarmac, the body control is just lovely, letting you throw the car around into corners with a confidence. Track mode though is brutal for road use. You might be seeing how much I am moving. It's stiff as a board and aggressive to the point of intimidation. Thankfully, there's help at hand. The adjustable traction control system is great. You disable the DSC and it will activate at level 5, giving you a nice middle ground. From there, you can dial it up to 8 as your confidence grows, or scale it back to 1 for tighter control. It's intuitive, effective, and ensures you can explore the car's balance without feeling like you're on a nice edge. And yet, the Vantage feels true to its core. It's wide, yes, but you sit low, right near the rear axle, and every input feels so connected. Throttle adjustments translate into immediate movement, and it's a car that rewards precision and involvement. Now I'm cruising on the open road, stuck in 8th gear, doing 65 kilometers an hour, and it almost feels very close to a GT. It's quiet, it's comfortable, but just flick this switch, go into Sport Plus, stab the throttle, and bless the day at the office! Downshift, and it holds, it grips every bit. Oh, this is such a track weapon. I want to take this to the track so bad. I'm just gonna drive off in the sunset, leave the camera crew behind till Aston yells at me on the phone to return the car back. I love it. What a car. What a car. V8s. Say V8s. So normally I'd step outside the car and give you my verdict, but I don't want to stop driving this, so bear with me, guys. But what exactly is my verdict? Well, the Aston Martin Vantage is exactly what you'd hope it would be. It's fast, it's aggressive, it's utterly engaging, and it's not a GT, and it's not even pretending to be a GT. And it doesn't care if your spine feels like it's been through a meat grinder after a day of spirited driving. It's a proper entertainer, a sports car through and through, and I absolutely love it. It's Aston Martin reminding us that they still know how to make a car for people who love to drive. And that's why I want to keep on driving.